Hi, Ennis here from Never Stop Tracking. Today we are talking about ELDs. Check out my video about keep tracking that I have, and that explains the ELD system that I'm using. It explains the admin settings and what you're able to see once you log in there and how you can use keep tracking. But I am today talking about ELDs in general, what they are, why do we need them, and how do dispatchers deal with ELDs, or if they deal with them at all. Okay, so let's start. ELD stands for an electronic login device, and that means it logs the driver's hours of service. And then when you see HOS, that stands for hours of service. Back a few years ago, we still had paper logs, and then we actually caught up with the rest of the world. Because the Europe has been using their they call it different tachograph over there, and that's different. It used to be like a round paper that they insert, and then it kind of like one of these like if you go to a hospital, and then it will write down the hours of service on that paper, and then if they get pulled over, the police can check it out, see how long they've been driving, how fast have they been driving, stuff like that. But here now, after we had to stop dealing with paper logs, and they were manually filled out. So you would get a paper log with 4 lines, and then you would just draw a line if you're off duty or on duty, sleeper and driving, and then you would change it there. You'll fill it out, and everything was done by hand, and that opened up a lot of ways for drivers and companies to cheat on their hours of service, drive illegally, and then it wasn't regulated like the way the government wanted it to be regulated. Now, once the ELD, the mandate that everyone will have to have these installed in their trucks, once that was planned for, and once they announced the deadlines for that, everyone freaked out. Drivers, trucking companies, everyone was worried. Everyone was like, why do we need that? This is going to cripple the trucking industry. Everyone is going to lose money. No one is going to be on time. This is so stupid. It's a free country. We should not be regulated like that. To a degree, I agree with that. But then it actually came out okay. It wasn't that bad. The first year, first few months, brokers raised prices a little bit. And that kind of compensated for the number of miles that you were able to drive now, as opposed to when you had logbooks, because you were able to, as a driver, to drive less miles, and they kind of raised up the prices just for a short while, and then they went back again. But then that was more due to the fact, that the economy was starting to get bad, and probably because of that, I'm not, I don't know. I'm not an expert about that, but that's from my own observation. Okay, so at the end, now, if you talk to trucking companies, if you talk to truck drivers, most drivers now love these ELDs. Okay, it's just an opposite from everyone was thinking that it's going to be a big mess, that it's going to be a big trouble. But actually it came out to be good. Now, there are some drivers who left the industry because of that. I don't know if it's fully because of that or partially, but some drivers left the industry because, they were fed up with government regulations and rules, and this was just, they stopped it, and then they said, no, I'm not going to do it anymore. And I don't blame them. That's normal. I understand that. But as far as practicality and legal things go, this has been a blessing for me as a trucking company. I have my own trucking authority, my own trucks. I can see them where they are. I know that they are not cheating on their logbooks, on the paper logs. I can see if they ever disconnect the device from the truck. I can see that. I don't have to ask them always for their logs to bring them, you don't even have to, like before you had to get the logs, and you have to have a dedicated person, if you have a lot of trucks, just that will check the logs for drivers, and that was a full-time work. It was a mess. And then you would see that the times don't match, the fuel times, the scale ticket, the bill of lading, things don't match. And then if you have an audit, and then even if the driver is on the road and they pull them over and then check the logbooks like that, then they can see that the driver is cheating. They will place them out of service. You will get a big fine, all kinds of trouble. And then even sometimes, like, you're not supposed to fix these logbooks. That's what they call it, like these paper logs. You would, if something doesn't match, then by law you have to tell the driver about that, and give them a warning, talk to them about that, and then leave that logbook as it is. So even if someone comes in, like inspection, DOT does an audit to you, then they can still see that. But usually most companies would ask their drivers to fix that, and no one is supposed to know. It's just like to make it look legit, and then put this on file. If someone shows over, then you can show the DOT. That's what a lot of companies would do. Nowadays, with these ELD devices, everything is electronic. That times match, because they cannot cheat. Drivers cannot cheat, and you, like, in case something happens, that they're legal. You don't worry, like, hey, have they cheated on their logbooks or have they not? Because not all drivers were doing that. There are a lot of drivers that would say, hey, I'm not gonna mess with my logbook. I'm not gonna change time. It's what it is. And then there are some trucking companies who would force them to do that. They would tell them, hey, you have to do it. There is a way to do it. You have to be there a certain time. You have to, and the drivers would not do it. They would leave, or they would, call DOT and tell them about this. But there are drivers who want to run. They want to make a lot of money, and they would do it on their own. They would never tell their trucking company, and trucking company would just close an eye. They don't want to know. Nowadays, you can't do that anymore. I'm sure there are ways that, someone who wants to cheat, they will find a way. But I don't allow it, and I can see on my ELD and keep tracking that they're not cheating. So whenever they get fuel, it will match what it is on the ELD. Whenever they sleep, whenever they do the 34-hour reset, they do 10-hour, 10-hour break, 14-hour on duty, things like that. So I can see it. I can see that they're not cheating. And then also drivers, the ones who never wanted to cheat anyway, are now happy that they can't do it anymore, and no one can force them. They're like, now I have my time off. When I'm done working, I'm just gonna go to bed or chill out, do my 34-hour reset, and you can't do anything about it. You can't force me, even if you wanted to, because it will show up there, and you can't change it. You cannot, on these ELDs, you cannot change the driving time. Okay. So that's one. The other kind of drivers that wanted to cheat and they were doing it, now they cannot do it. Even if they wanted, even if the company wants them to do it, they cannot. And there are no company right now that wants the driver to cheat, because everyone will see it. Like DOT will see it when they're on driving. If they pull them over, if they come in later, and they can see the history. The like last 6 months. They can see it, the DOT, and now no company will even ask the driver to cheat, because it's a big no-no. Now they're like, everyone is like, wow, don't cheat, don't, you had a violation, don't do it anymore. So it's just the other way. And then it's a lot safer for everyone, for the trucking companies, for drivers. It's a lot of less mess. You don't have to have a person that only does that. The safety person, can check other things. They can, log into the system, a few times a day, or sometimes, check them, see what's going on. But they don't have to, fully go each stop by stop. Like whenever they had fuel, whenever they had, time off and loading, they don't have to each logbook, each day, each driver. They don't have to check that manually anymore. So it's a really good thing like that, and everyone got used to it, and now everyone is still delivering on time. How is that possible? Like before you could not you deliver on time. You change the logbook. Now everyone is delivering on time, and you can't change the logbook. What's up with that? Well, people learned how to deal with it. They learned how to plan their time. And it's always about planning. No matter what you do, even when you're driving and you're planning to be somewhere at a certain time, you have to plan ahead. Where are you going to sleep? How much are you going to sleep? How much time you're going to spend at the truck stop to get fuel, and then take into account the loading times, the averages, and all that. And if something changes, adjust. Even if you're going to be late, just call the dispatcher, say, hey, well, I can't make it there at 8 a.m. I'll be there at 11 a.m. And usually that's okay. Usually they can work something out. Usually they will take them at the receiver. And then even when dispatcher books a load now, they have to plan a little bit more to take into account like how many miles does the driver have to drive, how many hours do they have available, and when can they pick up the next load. I talked about this in one of my videos. I'll try to link it if I don't forget to this video, but then you can plan ahead how to book loads, based on distance and time available and stuff like that. So we have a few types of ELDs. Right now we have apps that you can download on your phone or tablet. And that's what I use, Keep Tracking. Drivers can download it, and they have a device that you connect to the truck. Inside, like wherever they do the diagnostic when the truck goes to a shop. Even in the cars, they have this outlet, and then you just plug it in there, and they have a device, and then you can connect your phone with wire, or you can via Bluetooth. They have Bluetooth capability, so that device is connected to your phone via Bluetooth. You don't have to have a physical connection to it, so everything is wireless. And then when you download the app, what you do is it looks same as the logbook. You just press like when you're on duty, you change the status to on duty, off duty, driving, sleeper berth, and then it will tell you, the system will tell you how many hours you have available to drive, when do you have to stop for a break, how many hours till your next reset. It will tell you everything. And in the same way on the other side, like here on my computer, I log in, and then I can see each driver, where they are, how many hours they have left, how fast they're driving, where they have been. I can always see it like that. So that's what an ELD is. It will track the time for the driver, how long they have been driving, how long they have been off, when is the next break, how many hours they have available to drive, when is the reset, where they have been, the locations, the speed. And then these ELD devices now have all kinds of other data, like if they do sudden braking, if they do sudden acceleration, hard turns, all kinds of things. You can see like the idle hours on the truck, how much fuel it uses, because it's connected to the computer on the truck. And then basically whatever the computer sees, then you can see too. You can see the codes. If there's an engine fault code, something going on with the truck, you can see what's going on with the truck. And now they, Keep Tracking has even dash cams. You can connect that, and then with dash cams they will turn on at certain times. They will not be on all the time. And then they have these dedicated devices that are actually connected to the computer directly in the truck. So you don't plug it in. The driver cannot plug it in. It's connected to the computer, and they give you a device like a small tablet, and it's right there, and it's attached to the dashboard, and then that's where you change your driving times and all that. So these are more advanced. They're more expensive to install, but the driver cannot mess with it. The driver cannot unhook it like these with the Bluetooth, like Keep Tracking. The driver can unhook it whenever they want, but these they cannot. And then there are more things that you can see. You can use these as a GPS, and other. You can send drivers pick up information. And then even with the keep tracking and these apps, you can chat with them. But these like, I don't know if they call them onboard devices, something like that. But these are more advanced and they're more expensive too. But big companies usually have these big, should I say serious companies? I don't know if I should. People who like to invest more in that kind of stuff. So everyone does whatever they feel is working for them. So those were your ELD devices for you. I hope you liked the video. Like it, share it, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you around. Come back for more.